I'm videoing from a different angle today because it's been boring. So I have a relationship with this story, which is almost more important than the story itself. When I was but a wee rubbish teenager, the sort of wee rubbish teenager that hot, cool girls like my wife would have laughed at and mocked.
I still do.
She still does. Me and John and Paul, glorious fellows, both of them, marvellous fellows. We went to Neaton a few times to this weird.
Oh, wow, you know how to live.
You're not even know the best of it. To a pub, to this weird Doctor Who fan club gathering thing.
Oh my gosh, I want to divorce now.
It was a menagerie of nerd, and we went a handful of times, but it was great because it was just full of absolute nutters talking about Doctor Who. Occasionally there'd be a video on.
Sometimes there'll be other people there too.
There was loads of people there. It was just like a beacon for geek. And it was cool. And they had a raffle, and they had like a silly quiz. And I always remember from the quiz, at one point, there was lines from a film. And somebody said, what film does the following line come from? I'm Spartacus, I'm Spartacus, I'm Spartacus, and someone genuinely put Life of Brian. Anyway, once specifically me, won a prize in the raffle. And the prize I won in the raffle was an illicit VHS copy of The King's Demons. And oh my gosh, on the drive home, the hype between me, John and Paul. This is, one of our folks was to come and pick us up. But the hype was massive. The King's Demons, oh my gosh, this was just unknown territory for us. None of us could remember seeing it, I don't think. Paul must have only been... Have we got a date on there? No. So Paul must have only been, 5, so he wouldn't be able to remember it. And then the next day we went into school and I brought this copy of The King's Demons into school. And we sat outside a maths class. It must have been sixth formers because... No, maybe we were fifth formers. Maybe I was a fifth former and John was a sixth former. Anyway, we had a bit of cachet in the school, so we could get away with just finding a video player and just sitting there and putting a video on, and teachers would just think we were doing something worthwhile. And we were, because we were watching The King's Demons. And I remember saying something like, it's so lucky that you got this, Pete. And I remember saying, we got it, John. And he sort of slapped me on the back as if it was like a magnificent triumph. Anyway. So that's my personal relationship with The King's Demons, and I'll always remember that. And the other thing I wanted to tell you about this thing is that they had a little fanzine thing that they published, like a photocopied thing, to this day. One of the headlines on the front was Broton ate my croton, which has killed me now. For 30 years, that's just Broton ate my croton. With a picture, I think, of Philip Maddock going, oh! Anyway, there we go. Maybe it wasn't Philip Maddock, whoever it was. Right, okay, back on track now. However, that's the only time I can remember watching The King's Demons. God knows what, our response must have been. So generally, I know what's going on pretty much here. I know the weirdness that's about to kick in. And my wife magnificently didn't recognise the master, disguised as Sir Gilles Estram. Estram being an anagram of...
Oh, hold on, let me
there we go. Stop. Anyway, so I really enjoyed that episode, okay? I really, really, really enjoyed that episode. And here's why. I love historical stories, as you may know. I think the two-part historical could have been a thing. That's sadly going to...
Yeah, I'd watch a two-part historical.
Yeah, a two-part historical's a great idea. I like the way that this one kicks in a lot quicker than Black Orchid, just to set the tone a bit differently. I love the setting. Last time we've done anything medieval, this is medieval, isn't it? That would have been the Time Warrior, I think. Wanting to be proved wrong there. But it's a great setting for Doctor Who. Nice to see Davison in this role. I absolutely flipping love this TARDIS team all of a sudden. Freed from the shackles of the Black Guardian, suddenly we've got grumpy, cynical Tegan, but really... Well, I mean...
She's no more grumpy. I'm just going to put this out there. She's no more grumpy than Turlo, and you comment on her being grumpy because you expect women to be all sweetness and light.
Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that on the chin. But what I like about it is there's a moment in this where she stood next to the doctor and they're talking to the count or the whatever he is, the lord, and they look like a team. They just look like they're together on the same page. The little bit of bickering that they do, which is very pleasant. And like we said, could it be the devil? And he looks at it and he goes, I already said could. I love all that. But Turlough as well suddenly is fitted in brilliantly with this. He doesn't, I mean, I know he's only had a few lines, to be fair. He's not had much to do. But the whole tension that I felt with him not being a schoolboy, and yet him being written as a public schoolboy, that, you know, we're done with that now. We don't have to worry about that nonsense. We can just enjoy him as a character. Absolutely brilliant. You know, I'm quite taken with this very simple plot so far. It's the king. But it's not the king, what the chuff. That's great. That'll do for a Doctor Who story. That's plenty enough to be going on with. And then, of course, we've got the reveal of the Master. Now, maybe Lib's response to this would suggest that I'm being overly critical here, but to me, it was the Master from this. I'm like, why? Let's stop pretending now. But Lib didn't know, did you, Lib?
Genuinely not.
So there we go.
I mean,
So that's
in fairness, I'm sat 3 meters away from
yeah.
the TV.
Did you have your glasses on?
Without my glasses.
There we go.
on,
There we
so-
go. Lib did call it and say, "Is this a Master story?" Though.
Because it felt like a master
Yeah.
story. Because nothing else happened apart from we've landed in this place. A person is not who he seems to be.
Yeah, that's a very Master thing. But I suppose the conceit is the king's not the Master, and if Terence Dudley, who I don't think is that deft a writer, but if he was laying a groundwork to suggest the Master might be involved here, and then it's not him, then that would be quite canny. But you know, whatever. So listen, for the most part, that was a brilliant 25 minutes. I mean, genuinely, I suddenly feel yet again. This seems to happen periodically with Davison's Doctor, that we've hit a sort of just a period of smooth running now. So surely the next episode is going to be glorious, and then we all know what comes after that. Could be a big day of telly on Sunday, SummerSlam in the morning, 5 Doctors in the afternoon. Could be flipping awesome. Who could ask for more than that in life? Oh.